In my opinion, no matter where the characters are in your game, there should be the potential for just about anything to happen. And for that potential to exist, you need to put things in there that they can possibly encounter. I don't care if you're in the middle of the woods. You might run into someone to talk to. Or maybe a combat encounter. But we can go back to the town. Do you think there won't be a potential fight in the town? People won't pick a fight with you if you say the wrong words to them? Or maybe you end up in a back alley with a gang of thieves. How do I make sure that there is the potential for anything to happen? Well, there's a mix. Some of it is going to be set up. Maybe that group of thieves is something I've already pre-planned. But I'm also going to improvise. There's always going to be a possibility. So I'll use the dice maybe, roll percentages if I need to. Get that to help me. The coin flip, right? Heads or tails, is somebody going to be there? And then be willing to improvise anything I haven't pre-planned. So the chance of running into someone in the forest, even if I haven't written it out, I will be willing to improvise, and I'll be willing to use the dice to sort of force me into that mode. Instead of just saying something and then ignoring the potential chance, because then I'm full of shit, right? So I want to make sure that my characters, and I think you should do the same, can run into anything. Let the game flow. So that means even if you're doing something minute in my game, anything can happen. So it's worth going through. You could be out shopping with your characters, but if you say the wrong things to the wrong people, or you go down to the wrong area at the wrong time, well, hey, you might find yourself in a life or death situation, but you were just out shopping for your character. I run campaigns, so this advice really lines up more with campaigns than, say, a one-shot. A one-shot adventure is where you're going to have one gaming session for that adventure. That's it. I run adventures that will take a while, so it will take multiple sessions to complete them. Now, when I say let the game flow, that means you're willing to do anything. Improvise, bring what you have pre-planned. But you also have to let it flow in this way. Let the players choose the experience they want, and don't try to force something in if it's not there. Even if it turns out to be not so good, even if you hear criticism, oh, there should be more action there, but action is not happening. Don't get in the way of how things are meant to be. As long as you're willing to use dice for the coin flip, you're willing to improvise things in, and you have some pre-planned stuff, you go with what's there. But if the dice tell you there's going to be no encounter, if everything the players do with their characters is, cycling around conflict all the time, don't try to force it in. Even if you find yourself running a session where it's nothing but interaction, make sure that's not forever. You don't want to go 2 or 3 sessions on that. At one point, you want to slightly try to curve things in, so you do your best without trying to force it. But for the most part, let players control the fate of their characters. That's really our job. And if they bypass stuff we put in there, let fate, step in. Let the game flow as much as you can. When you offer the game like that to your players, you don't have to skip any area of the game, because any area, no matter how minute it seems at first, can end up being, exciting. And even that minute stuff can be a little fun, but you don't need to skip it, because the possibilities in your game for what can happen are worth looking into, and is something you don't just bypass casually. And that's a great thing to be offering to players. For your players to know, even if they go shopping with their characters, man, they could end up in some new side adventure, fighting whatever, going through sewers, having a great time, or in some cases, a very intense time. As a game master, you need to be comfortable with improvising. Coming up with stuff that you haven't already pre-planned. You can have pre-planned stuff, but you can also make a sort of notepad of stuff that is just sort of casually written down, casual ideas that you haven't written out that you could use to help you improvise. Or, if you're like me and you're comfortable with it, you know when to start thinking about things, you pay attention to players, so you're prepping yourself to improvise, make up stuff as you go if you need to, if you don't already have something pre-planned. And you need to be comfortable with role play. Interaction, not just rushing to the combat. You have to be okay with people going around the town, especially in that shopping stuff, right? So you can turn that into something, right? At first it's just interaction, talking to the merchant. Next thing you know, you're talking to the group of thieves in the wrong area, and they're leading the characters into something very interesting. So the game can always be on an edge, and you should let your players know that that's what they're in when they get into your game. These games are very complex, especially on the side of the game master for what they're doing. And you'll hear a lot of simple-minded opinions and judgments, a lot of simple-minded judgments about what it is to run these games, what you're doing, what you should skip, what you should do, blah, 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 blah. It's a lot of bullshit for most people, but in all honesty, you just have to let things go. Things aren't always going to be perfect. So there's going to be flaws in all Game Masters games. Nobody can be perfect. Not you, me, not nobody. Not even Matt Mercer. So you have to let things just happen sometimes. And then be ready to, deal with the things that are happening. Because that's really part of your job. Besides managing the game as far as, keeping players focused on playing the game, you then need to react as the world to everything that is going on. You're not really there to make things happen. The idea of railroading becomes stupid under certain circumstances, but you're there to not really make things happen. You're there to offer something. And then the players are there to make it happen. Get it? And if you're trying to railroad, I guess, the way they want to say it, like force players to do things or force characters into areas, and you're not letting players just have the freedom to do whatever because you're not willing to improvise, etc., etc., to me, you're not really offering what I think of as a tabletop role-playing game. Something where players have the freedom to do whatever they want. And we've told players that for years. And to make that a reality, you as a game master need to be willing to perform in all areas of the game, not just in some. Anyway, for now, take care. You know what you can do? You can hit the like button. You can share the video. Oh, and there's another button you can press. That one that lets you subscribe to my channel for more content. Oh yeah, there's that bell thing. You can press that so you know when I've uploaded a new video right away.